Hey everyone, this is the Mesh Morphing demo for the Demons Pack PBR. I apologize if my voice sounds a little bit off. I blame the library for the cold and the GDC for making it worse than it otherwise might have been. So we're going to go over just the lens shapes of Mesh Morphing here. You can check out the other video for all the different animations and sound effects and stuff like that. So the blend shapes are used to morph the mesh, and I've set up a pretty cool script that lets you control each one individually, which we'll show in a minute, or randomize things. So in this case, I've got one button here to randomize the entire body, or everything rather, including the wardrobe. So every time you click it, you'll have a different looking character. And if you want to, you could go a little bit further and code changes to the head as well, because of course there are 3 different heads, and each one of those is also getting randomized on each click. So you can go beyond that, and you can go even further and randomize the different body texture sets. So we've got 3 different body texture sets. It's easier to see when the clothes are off, but there are 3 different sets here. And then, of course, the different horn sets that you can turn on and off and mix and match those, and those are all game randomized as well every time we click this button. So there's a lot you can do with this. There are probably, I'm not going to do the math, but I would say millions of options here. So we can also just randomize the body. Now you notice that the wardrobe is moving with the body because they're to match to make sure that we minimize the amount of cutting through. You know, if the arms get bigger, the wardrobe has to expand to fit those bigger arms. This one will just randomize the wardrobe. It just gives some different options for those. You can randomize the horns, and you can randomize the face as well. So let me just go back. I'm going to go to head B. We haven't looked at that too much. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so we can see the face more. Got that. And, oh, too far. Anyway. And can we zoom? So that's about okay. So random faces. So just clicking that, every time you click it, it'll adjust all the values randomly and a bunch of different faces. So let's see how this actually works in practice. All right. So this is the scene's pause. I turned off the canvas so that we don't see the line in the middle. So the preset files section right here allow you to load presets. You can drop new preset files into here once you create them, and then click these to load them. This is using the same code pretty much as the UI does. You can look at the UI if you want to figure out that right here. It's just calling this function with the included blend shape preset file, which is just looks like these. And let's go back to. Alright, so you've got those. Let me reset the values entirely. Now, these are the blend shapes itself. It's separated into each model that's underneath this, so pretty much whenever the script is attached, it'll include any blend shapes on the current object and all of its children. So it'll separate all the children down, so it's a little easier to go through. And if you just expand one, you've got some options. So at the top here, we have a toggle all. That means for the export presets, you can toggle them all to be included. So the values you have set here will be the values that are saved as the preset. Randomize, which means the value will be randomized, and that's going to be randomized between this low and the upper end on this side. And then the exclude, which is going to be, this is the drop down right here, do not record, which means that when you load the preset file that it gets saved out, it will not change these values at all. So to make the one that only randomizes the chest armor, I would just click exclude to exclude all, and then under the chest armor section right here, I would just say include all, and now they're all recording the values. But if I want to say the chest length, which is just this part right here, if I want to make that random, I could just random on load. That way, chest length will be randomized, everything else will be set to 0. Or if I have these set, they'd be set to whatever I choose. So pretty much each one can be adjusted by script or by this inspector option right here. And there's a lot you can do with it. Some of the extremes get a little bit, too extreme for most cases. In that case, find what works for you. Like, okay, -24 is my minimum. And so I'll bring that up here. Now whenever we randomize it, we can just randomize all here. It will never go below -25 for this value. That way we won't ever get so pinched that it looks kind of silly. So you can do that for all the different things. You can also reset the values to with one click right there. And then there's bigger things like the bodies has a lot of options here. One of the big ones here is the belly size. That's a cool one. And you'll notice as we bring out the belly, the armor comes out as well. That's because they're all set to match so that we get as minimum clipping as possible between all the options, so that as you increase various options, you'll find that they always just work and they look good. So even combining the chest with the with the fatness. So when you start getting to the extremes, you get into more issues, but for the most part, let's see, with -25, it'll look good in all cases. So let me reset those values, So there's a lot you can do with those. And let's see what else. We got the face here. So the face is probably one of the biggest things here. This is face A, or head A rather. And these are all the options for each head. Has a bunch of options. Most have the same ones. The heads are all slightly different, so they have slightly different options. But you can bring these spikes in and out. The depth of the cheeks here. And a lot of this stuff is really designed just to be small changes. When they're all combined, they end up forming vastly different looks. So you can combine them in different ways to present different looks. So I do suggest using the randomize feature for this. If you want to go deep into it, you could control everything by hand. But using the randomize feature is probably the easiest way to get some cool looks. One suggestion could be to every time you spawn a creature, randomize the face, randomize the head just a little bit, so that each one looks slightly different. You could, of course, randomize everything so that each one's really different. Zoom out a little bit so we can see the full body of the demon. The one thing that you'll have to realize with this, of course, since everything's happening, the armor is being randomized too, so you might get a situation where one side of the armor is different looking than the other side, which could be perfectly fine for your needs. So there's a lot you can do with the blend shapes. It's pretty easy to use, pretty easy to set up, and it should really help make your characters much more unique for each. I love them out there. It looks like a Simpsons character to me. Much more unique for each spawn of the character. And of course, if you go and use another one of the heads, use head C here. Go back to the blend shapes. And bring up head C. There's going to be slightly different options. Like Will got the crown here. This is I like this one the best. It's my personal favorite head. But the crown length of the spikes, bring those up and down. So you can bring the spikes all the way down, or bring them all the way up so they're extra spiky. This forehead bump right there, the cranium size is standard one that we use. The mask length, make that higher and smaller. So you can make those spikes like really spiky, and so there's really a lot you can do with this. So let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day, everybody. Thanks.